up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Giselle, and I'm an ultrasound technologist out here in Las Vegas. And today I have a very special guest for you guys. This is Drew. She is a sonographer, and if you don't know her already, she's on Instagram and she does a lot of really cool reels. She produces so many cool things on there, all about ultrasound, Doppler, physics. This is Drew, and I'm going to have her on today talking about physics, SPI, which is one of the things that you're all going to have to go through if you want to be a sonographer. So here she is.
Hello. Thank you for having me on, Giselle.
Of course. Thank you for being here. Let's just kind of start off with introducing yourself for those who don't know you. You know, like what registries do you have? A little bit about your journey to becoming a sonographer, anything you want to share to let them know.
Okay, so yes, I've been scanning for about 4 years. I graduated in 2017, and along the way, I gradually took my registries. I'm registered in abdomen, OB, GYN, and vascular. My journey for ultrasound started in high school. I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field. I was pretty sure about that, but I wasn't sure exactly what job I wanted. I knew I wanted something that was flexible, that had good pay, that would have variety in the job duties, and I stumbled across sonography. So I spoke with the director of the program, found out what I needed to do to apply, got my prerequisites, the majority at that time, and then I applied. I wasn't sure, but I got accepted. It was not easy. I had to definitely face some obstacles. The program started out relatively smoothly, except for physics, but it gradually got harder, not just because of that program, but I was also getting a second degree in foreign language, specifically Spanish. So that made it actually pretty intense. And yes, my program was accredited less than 2 months before I graduated. So as soon as I found that out, I applied to sit for my abdomen registry, and I took it the day before my pinning ceremony. And then later, some months later, then I took my OB, and then a year or so later, vascular exam.
That's
Yep.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, just like you said, it wasn't easy, and I feel like that's just how it goes trying to become a sonographer. It's definitely tough and challenging. So what it seems like is that you have a lot of knowledge in physics and SPI and stuff, because that's one of the things that you mainly post about. I see on your website, which you guys can go visit her website. You were, if I'm not mistaken, were you a clinical instructor or a lab instructor or something like that?
I was an instructor for a course for physics 1 and 2, and then abdomen pathology.
So was that like you were actually teaching in a class and, you know, things like that? Wow, that's so amazing. That's something that I want to do one day. I just don't know when or how, but that's amazing. And with that, did you take your SPI while you were still in the program, like after you took your physics class?
Yes, I took my SPI exam after I completed my physics class. It was several months afterwards, but I had had about 3 months of clinical experience before I sat for the registry, and that having time in the clinicals really helped me to make things click before I took that SPI exam.
Okay, yeah, that's smart. So you were able to already be scanning before you took the SPI. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, after your ultrasound physics class, take the SPI. Like, because for most accredited programs, you can do that. After you pass your ultrasound physics class, you can sit for the SPI board exam. But a lot of times it's just kind of hard to put two and two together. Like, put physics together and answer these questions when you don't even know how to scan and how it kind of works and applies to the machine. I mean, back in those days, you had to do those little machine things where you had to change the machine in order to create a better image. But apparently
Right.
they took those out.
Yes.
But at least knowing you had experience on the machine, would you say that gave you better knowledge on SPI?
Yes, it really did. I don't know for sure if I would have passed before because of the way I was studying, but I think that really helped me watching the sonographers in clinicals, seeing how they adjust the machine, and then later myself doing the same thing and seeing how different properties affect each other. Then it helped me connect the things I was learning in the book to actually scanning a real patient.
Right. Awesome. So I know that, well, did you pass you obviously passed your SPI first time, right?
Yes, I did.
So it took me personally, it took me 3 times. And like, I'm not afraid to share that aspect because I've grown in my failures, and it's like I know who I am, and the type of sonographer I am today isn't defined by how many times it took me to pass an exam. I mean, I understand how the machine works, but sometimes some of us aren't good at applying things or just even test taking in general, like sitting there having test anxiety. I mean, I told myself all the time that I am just like so nervous to take this test. And this was, obviously years ago. So looking at it now, back then, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to pass this test, right? That mindset thing, which we talked about the mindset thing. So if you guys haven't seen it, you should go over to her Instagram and
Yeah.
watch that video because it will definitely help you. But yeah, it's kind of like, I really applaud you, because passing SPI on your first try is honestly really hard to do. A lot of people don't pass it on their first time, and I don't want people to feel discouraged or upset that they don't pass it their first time, because the bright side, the positive side, is you can take it again. So my question is, since you were able to pass it on your first time, going through that process when you were studying, did you have a background in physics before doing like ultrasound? Like, were you really good with physics? Like, how would you say you were leading up to taking the exam, and like what made you confident, in passing that exam and taking the exam and stuff like that? Like, how would you say that journey went prior to going into the SPI? Because I know for a lot of people, they go into it just like so nervous. I mean, studying and studying and studying, and they're still nervous. But like, how was it when you went into it?
First, I did not have any real experience with physics prior to the physics, the ultrasound physics course in my program. In high school physics, I did kind of poorly for my standards. So that was not very good experience as far as contributing to understanding ultrasound physics. But once I got into the program, I realized, okay, I'm going to have to teach myself. So if I want to pass these tests, if I want to pass this exam, the SPI exam, I've got to hunker down and I've got to do it myself. So that is what I told myself, to be able to put in the time and put in the work to try to get better at it. I was okay at math and I knew how to study. I knew how to study and achieve something that I wanted. So that's what helped me. Yeah. So I had to force myself to sit down with that book and figure out what it was trying to tell me.
Yeah, that's honestly all we can do, right? I mean, I hear from a lot of students that have professors and teachers who don't really teach well, which is very unfortunate to like have that as your guidance. Like, a lot of times they're kind of like teaching themselves, especially now with the pandemic, people are really teaching themselves. So it's all dedication and trying to, you have all these resources around you, and you can try to figure out how to understand these concepts of physics and ultrasound physics. And there's YouTube now, YouTube videos you can look up, and Facebook forums and groups and things like that. So I feel like there's a lot of different things people can do nowadays to help them. I mean, it's only been 4 years since we've taken the test, and so much has changed since then. I mean, it's really good that you were able to know how to study and hunker down, because I'll tell you, with me, I took SPI like everyone said right after my ultrasound physics class, didn't pass it, really honestly had no idea. I was like really lost. And this was prior to me scanning and understanding everything, right? So then finally take it, and I missed it by like literally one question, just a few points. So I'm like defeated again. I'm like, holy crap, is this even worth it? And I know that a lot of people probably think the same thing when they don't pass it their first time. And then here I am not passing it my second time. So you can only think the thoughts that I was thinking in my head at that time, wanting to give up, wanting to not do it again. Am I really choosing the right path? But honestly, a test is a test, and at least you can take it again. Like, that's the one thing. It's like they don't hinder you from taking these tests. You can take them again. So like, I studied more and I focused more and honed in on like what I felt like I needed to really understand. And then I finally passed it on my third time. But like you said, I would ask my clinical instructor, like, what does this button do? Okay, how is this related? All right, frequency, all this stuff that you have to know and learn. We're basically doing it on the daily, right? We're doing physics on the daily. We're touching these buttons on the daily, and yet a lot of times, we aren't really thinking about what it's doing. That's what physics is all about. So, in your opinion, like, what do you think students have to do to really understand physics, and especially understand it for the SPI?
I would say the Green Understanding Ultrasound Physics book is very helpful. Um, that is a good book to start with. You have to put in time to study, especially if you're not that great at math. You may have to start with that, because that is a struggle for a lot of people, and that's part of why some people really struggle with physics. Like you said, need to try to ask your clinical instructors, why are you pressing that button? What does this do for the image? Or if you're scanning, what can I do what machine controls can I change to improve this image? Ask your sonographers that. So that will really help you to connect the physics principles to real life scanning. And also studying according to the content outline. That's really important, because I don't think I did that. So when I was at the test site and I was taking my exam, once I finished, I thought I had failed. I honestly felt like I had failed. I told the lady at the test site, I failed, didn't I? I was asking her that. But it was because I was not prepared for all of those Doppler questions. I didn't understand how, okay, I read the whole book, but Doppler is only this much of the whole book. So how can they be asking me this many questions about Doppler? So I wasn't fully prepared for that. So that was the reason I thought that I had failed. That was the main reason I thought I had failed. So definitely take in consideration the content outline for that's on the ARDMS website before you take the exam.
That's great. That's a good thing to look at. I don't think I looked at that either. And I think obviously they put that out there to serve a purpose. So use all your resources to be able to help you. I mean, obviously they want you to pass. They give you all these things that you could do to be able to pass. You've got the Edelman seminars. Well, now they're webinars. And you've got the Edelman workbooks. You've got the flashcards, you've got YouTube videos, you have ultrasound registry review. There's so much out there that can help you guys learn. I know there's a ton of YouTube videos on physics, but one thing I think you guys should know about, since obviously she knew there was a lot of Doppler on there now, she has a little course. Do you want to explain your little course to everybody?
Sure, yes. So the reason why I created the course because I didn't want other people to feel the way I felt going into my exam and feeling so bad like I didn't know what I was doing. So I created a course that explains Doppler in simple language so that you can understand. Has a lot of visuals, but also text in it, and it includes an interactive lesson so that you can actually connect, like we were talking about, the what's in the book to how to operate an actual machine. So it helps you out for the SPI exam a lot, and it's great for different types of learners. That's another tip for people trying to take their SPI exam. Figure out what is your learning style. So my course is great for auditory, visual, and hands-on learners. And even if you learn by writing notes, you can pause it and take notes at any time. But I never say that this course is magic and it's gonna just make you automatically pass the SPI. You have to put in the work, and I even include that in the course, the introductory video. To be successful, you have to put in the work. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it so much that you created that. I wish I had that back in the day. Probably would have helped me a lot. So if you guys are interested, you can find her mini Doppler course. Where can they find it at?
You can go to my website, the skilledsonographer.com, and the course actually includes some review questions, about at least 65 review questions to help you for the SPI exam. So yes, my website is the skilledsonographer.com.
Yay, I love that. Yeah, definitely you guys should check that out. Also, there's lots of resources online. So if you guys need any help or anything like that, finding or figuring it out, comment down below, go at her on Instagram. We are here to help you. So, that's why we're here. I have a few questions from people who asked me because I told them that I was going to talk to you. So one question was, if you could share some study techniques. She said she's taking her prereqs and starting to apply to some programs, but she would like to know, what are some good study habits which could help anyone at any stage. So do you have any advice for that?
Going back to your learning style, if you learn by drawing pictures, do that. Drawing out the words that you're reading in the textbook, try to make it more visual so that it actually sticks in your mind. Whatever you have to do to make something stick in your mind, then that's what you should do. If you find yourself, if you ever take a test, you can like kind of see in your mind words, then maybe reading or writing is how you learn best. So try to do that. If you're not in the program yet, it's always good to just familiarize yourself with the terms. And if you can do shadowing, I don't know right now if people are able to do shadowing, but just try to get your hands on the machine and just play around with it. If you are not in an actual patient exam, there's really nothing you can do to mess up a machine that's not reversible. So just play around with the different knobs and buttons and just see how different buttons affect your image.
Awesome. It's a great answer. Yeah, I mean, it all depends on your learning style, as she said, because everyone learns differently. I mean, I'll tell you, I study probably in college. I had the worst study habits, I feel like. So knowing this now, be able to figure out how to do it and use your resources, play with the machine. That's all you can kind of do, is to figure out how can you make this stick in your brain and for you to remember it. And I think repetition also is a good thing to do.
Yes, I was just about to say that. And sometimes, like I did a slight bit of research one time, but it said sometimes reading or studying right before you go to bed is good. So sometimes when I'm more alert, I'll study for a while. Sometimes first thing in the morning, maybe at midday during clinicals or wherever I was. But then I might also read back over the information right before I go to bed. So repetition, sometimes even multiple times during the day, can help.
Yeah, it's all really like repetitive. Ultrasound in itself, like you're scanning your protocol over and over and over again. Having to learn the protocols, you kind of have to tell yourself over and over and over again. You're remembering it in your head how to do it a certain way. So definitely just kind of like think about everything that you need to over and over again every single day. That's how we get better. I mean, that's how you learn how to drive a car or ride a bike, anything like that. You're kind of just practicing and practicing. And
Yes,
ultrasound's a lot of that.
it is indeed. That's how you get repetitive motion injuries.
I know exactly. That's a whole nother topic in itself.
It is.
So I mean, I kind of touched in about this since I had to retake SPI obviously 3 times. Someone said that they took the SPI in 2018 and they failed, and they actually haven't taken it since then. So their question is how to get motivated to take it again, because after failing the first time, they don't want to fail again. I know I shared my story about it, but do you have any advice for them?
Yes, I have a few things I would say. It depends on what you want for yourself. That's the first layer of the issue. Do you want to become a registered sonographer? Do you want to be able to have that title behind your name? And the SPI exam is the step that you have to take to be able to be a registered sonographer. Do you want that? Wanting that is the first layer. And then the next thing is, as far as taking that specific exam, knowing that you've taken it before, you can decide, okay, I want this time to be my second and my last time. But also, like you said, there's nothing wrong with trying again. And you can learn more by trying again. So if you still have, I don't know if you still have the paper from the printout from your exam where they spell out which categories you needed to work on, if you could go back to that and focus on studying those things more, and maybe think about what was your study schedule like before you the first time you took the exam, and what maybe you could do differently to do better on it this time. If do you think you need to spend more time each day studying, that might be something that you could change. Sometimes better resources could help. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something that a lot of people go through. So, I just want them to know that they're not alone in that. And you kind of like said it right. Like there's steps and processes to becoming a diagnostic medical sonographer. And the first step is to pass that SPI exam. So every single one of us who are registered have to take that SPI exam. And many of us have taken it multiple times. So, you know, don't think of it as something that's holding you back. Think of it as something to push you forward and to get to your goal. Because obviously, right, we're always looking at the end goal and the bigger picture, which is become that registered sonographer, get that abdomen registry. Because SPI is just the beginning, you guys. There's abdomen, vascular, OBGYN, breast, musculoskeletal, pediatrics. And for those of you who do echo, there's adult echo, fetal echo, pediatric echo. There are all these tests, and SPI is the bridge to get there. So, with that being said, I know you're a registered sonographer. Do you feel like physics is the most difficult board exam, or would you say like other board exams have been more challenging?
Mm, it could almost be the most challenging. For me, I don't know. Abdomen was not the most challenging. OB might have been more challenging. SPI was up there because first is the first registry that you have to take. So you have to really learn how to study. You don't really know what to expect, because sometimes you never had to take like such a big test before that affects your career. So it's a lot kind of waiting on that first test, and also depends on the type of instructor that you had, how confident you feel in that subject. So with it being the first thing that you're really learning and being tested on seriously, and then not always having the clinical side to it, the clinical experience with it, that can make it a lot harder than other registry exams for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true. I actually didn't look at it that way, as it's like you have to pass this test in order to like get to the next level. So it is a lot, and it is your first one, so you have no idea what to expect. You're really nervous, and you're just uh, like what kind of questions are on this test? And um, but I honestly, for me personally, I felt like X Zone was very similar to what was on the test, or just I guess the way the questions were worded. So we're gonna wrap up this video, but what would you say? I know you said the Edelman Green Book. Would you say that's like sufficient enough for them to study for SPI, or do you think they need more on top of that?
For me, that would not have been enough. Some type of review book or review material would have helped me out a lot. So I would say something additional is necessary. Some people like just doing a lot of review questions, but some people need something to help them actually understand the material in the book, not just ask them questions. So that's why I created the Doppler course. So I would definitely say try to take advantage of whatever resources that you think would benefit you and that you've seen good feedback from other people, seen that it has been beneficial to other people.
There's so much out there that you can do, like we've said, and always reach out whenever you have a question. I feel like, for example, in my Discord community, we have a physics chat, and literally everyone always messages their physics questions in there. And you should know that you're not alone, because there's so many other people trying to do physics as well. So find that study group and get those extra resources. And I know one girl who read the book before she got into the program. She read the Edelman book. Not saying you have to, but she read it to get familiar with it. And she was way ahead of most of the students in her class. So if you already know and you're determined, get that done, because you know you have to take SPI if you want to do RDMS here in the United States, at least, right? So definitely, if you're determined and willing, do what you need to do and get it done, because all you need is to pass that exam. You just need to pass.
Yes.
So I appreciate you so much for being here. Last few questions. I mean, do you have any other tips or advice that you want to give them? You gave a lot of good advice in this video. So
Basically, know what you want, decide what you want, and go after that thing. Put in the work to achieve that goal. Yes, you have to put in some time, and it's important to just put yourself out there. And if you take an exam, you don't do well the first time, like Giselle was saying, try again, because you know what you want at the end of the day. You know what you want out of life, and this is just a step to get there. So just try your best.
yay. Yes, always try your best, you guys. Stay positive through it all. So do you think you're going to be doing ultrasound forever? Do you have any other plans? I mean, I see maybe you should I see your website and your little Doppler course. Are you going to create more courses?
Hmm. Okay, so I don't know if I will be doing ultrasounds forever as far as scanning forever, but I do see myself helping other people in some way or another forever. I've thought about doing more courses. I've thought about including more physics information in a course, but or maybe something else, but I'm trying to get a feel for what people actually need, what will be most beneficial to other people. So yeah, I do like teaching. When I was teaching ultrasound physics at the college, I really enjoyed that. So maybe I'll be doing some of that in the future. I definitely want to try different things. I want to up my resume, my experience, different things like that. So I'm kind of in the mood for change right about now. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, you're definitely going to get it. I feel like you're doing so much in the community, and I'm so grateful for you being here and for all the things that you do for the community and on your Instagram and your website. I appreciate you. If you guys missed it, one time we had a meeting and she was there and she actually like helped people with their physics questions and basically guided them and answered any questions that they have. So this was through our Discord, and we do meetups once a month and we talk every single day in that thing. So if you're interested in joining that Discord community, comment down below or DM me on Instagram. If you're interested in more physics stuff, definitely Drew is your girl. Hit her up on Instagram, the Skilled Sonographer. And yeah, if you guys have anything that we missed or you need more clarification on or you have questions for her, comment them below because we'll get those answered for you. So I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I
Yes.
really appreciate it.
Yes, and don't forget to go to her page and see our other video that we did earlier today, which was on your mindset, having some positive thinking going on, because we all need to be remembered or reminded of that. And life is hard, but you can do it.
Yes.
So thank
Yes,
you guys
you
so
can get
much.
through it.
I appreciate it. We'll see you guys on Instagram. Anything else you want to say?
Um, just do your best at whatever you're doing. Whatever that is, do your best.
Do your best. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.